What's up, everybody? Welcome to Value Town, episode 95. I'm ChanManV, and we've got a bunch of folks with us today, folks that seem inanimate right now, but we've got Noxious and Zalae. Obviously, me and Noxious back from BlizzCon. Actually, Firebat too. Firebat's our guest today. Yeah. We're all three of us back from BlizzCon, and Zalae just enjoying himself at home this whole time.
Good times.
Good times.
Streaming 10 hours a day.
Man, yeah. How was that overall? Is that good?
It's pretty good. Viewership was up. Did what I wanted.
Got a lot of those Twitch Prime subs from other folks, maybe. Wasn't it expiring during that time? Like everybody was gone.
Yeah. I retained. I still have way more subs than before Twitch Prime was a thing, but I lost, like over 100 Twitch Prime subs because it's been more than a month, and you just get the one free month. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks did, right? And I wish I would have like a notification to tell people, hey guys, your sub expired or whatnot. That would actually be very,
people complain
very
that with Twitch Prime that they have to like manually pick the person every month.
Yeah.
They do? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, they have to give away their first their first sub, right? Because that's kind of how the UI works. Like when you go to sub somebody, they'll ask you if you want to use your Twitch Prime or not.
Right, but like when
it's over.
Yeah, if you're like a permanent Twitch Prime member, and your Twitch Prime's the first month ends, it doesn't like resub to that person, even though you still have the free Twitch Prime sub. You have to.
It just gives you like a new coupon to use basically on someone else,
exactly.
or the same person if you'd like, but not automatically.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh darn, one click.
Oh darn, one click. I know, right? So everybody, set your calendars, or like the end of each month, just remind all your viewers and subs to resub. I think that's probably the best policy. Yeah. So anyways, guys, we got a full show. Lots of great stuff to talk about. This is always the best times when the expansion comes out. Of course, Mean Streets of Gadgetzan was announced at BlizzCon, so there's a lot of new cards. They announced, which me and Noxious and Toast actually reviewed, kind of first impression review while we were at BlizzCon. So today we're going to do something that's going to be top 5 for each of us, and then we'll have some overlaps or whatnot. Just top 5 interesting cards. We'll talk about those, and then we'll go into just the newer cards kind of one by one. We'll also talk about the HCT Finals. We have a world champion for 2016 now. Firebat casted that too, so we get the lowdown there. And then we're going to talk about decks. We actually have a deck from Zalae as well as a deck from one of our patrons to talk about. At the end, viewer Q&A. We're going to actually do something different starting this week. Maybe not like right this second because a lot of folks might not have gotten their questions in. But we're going to start taking email questions for all the folks that listen to the show on audio, because we always exclude you guys because we take live questions. It just like dawned on me like an idiot all of a sudden that, hey, they can't ask questions. So yeah, go ahead and email your questions during the week, guys, and we'll ask them on the show.
That's a good idea.
Next week. Yeah, amazing, isn't it? If not, you can still tweet those questions. So emails will get priority, and then the folks that tweet and obviously in Twitch chat will get your questions too. Okay, so let's start off. Let's talk about HCT and the finals and the world champion. Pavel is our newest world champion, joining the Hall of Fame with Mr. Firebat over here. So overall, what do you guys think of the World Championships? Just live at BlizzCon and just generally with the game. Before we get dive deep into any of them.
Yeah, this is really broad. There's a lot of ways we could take.
Yeah. What do you think? What did you think of the event? Just period.
It was a pretty hype event, right? Yeah. Like it had a lot of viewership. Everyone, the promotion of you get packs for picking a champion was really smart.
Yeah.
Because it gets people to be, you pick who you want to win, and then you're invested in their games, and you're really pulling for your guy. And unfortunately, it didn't work out for Amnesiac, but it was a great idea by Blizzard. It made the tournament more exciting for me, for sure.
Yeah. Production quality was good too. A lot of really solid interviews too that were pretty funny.
Yeah, the interviews were really good.
A lot of casters involved, lots of Hearthstone analysis, bumping from desk to desk.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I want to say that's like a negative actually about the BlizzCon broadcast is they always do like some sort of event in the middle on the main stage. It's like they did like Challenge Stone.
Yeah.
And even though I was a part of it and it's great promotion for me, right? And I shouldn't like say that it's bad, but because like it's basically free money for me, but like I don't like it. I think they shouldn't have an event in the middle of the World Championship because it's kind of disrespectful to the players players competing. I feel takes away their spotlight and their stage time to have just me, Frodan, and Kibler up there just kind of dicking around with Challenge Stone stuff when they should have, the main event. So
exactly.
I really wish they would cut that out of the BlizzCon broadcast, but they've done it every year now.
Well, what you're saying makes sense, but on the other hand, I really love that special event, like these formats with the wacky rules and like a bunch of
But in the World
people,
Championship,
it's awesome.
Yeah, I love those events, but not in the middle of a World Championship.
I mean, like
we had it in the day one ended with the grand finals of Challenge Stone instead of a real tournament match.
Right.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Like it would have been nice. I mean, there's two alternatives, right? It's to maybe do the top 16 there instead, or try to get some more of the real matches there, or
the group stage off of the BlizzCon stage, so they can make room for Challenge Stone.
Yeah.
So these people that played all year, grinded points all year, won a championship, fly here from like wherever to try and compete on the BlizzCon stage. Half of them cannot play on the BlizzCon stage because me and Kibler and Frodan and TJ are just up there playing some Challenge Stone.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, if they were to do the Challenge Zone too, it might be nice to lead with it, as like a like a pre, just like a pre.
I like that idea.
Thing. Yeah, that would have been better.
That would be so much better. It's not right in the middle, cutting out players from even being able to come up on the stage. Like,
yeah, it was odd, definitely odd.
Makes me feel disgusting. And they've done it 2 years. They've done it 2 years in a row now.
I know.
Did you give them the feedback the first time?
Oh yeah, every time I give them my peace of mind, and then they're like, "But we'll pay you to go on stage." And I'm always
Firebat's like every time I give them absolute
shove
shit
some
about
money
this event,
in your
he's like,
mouth,
I give them
basically.
my peace of mind. change the terminology there, but that was well done, sir.
Okay, one thing I did like about the production a lot was I like the lights. I really liked what they did with Yogg-Saron. Cool, they probably needed to do it with Ragnaros too this time around.
Yeah, that was bad.
But with the Yogg-Saron, it was really cool what they did online as well as in the stadium. So for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, whenever Yogg-Saron would be played, there was the sequence of lighting that would just like hype the crowd and really add to the atmosphere of it, and then the actual production from a viewer standpoint, like on Twitch or whatnot, is they would do picture in picture. So they would show like the crowd and the lighting like in the bottom right corner, and then you would see what would happen like in the top left corner. I definitely thought that was a nice effect, and I remember when Milkhouse was telling me about it, I was like, oh yeah, that sounds pretty cool. But the execution was really, really good too. They need to do more of that type of environmental stuff. It was cool.
Yeah, I really like their implementation of all the crowd hype stuff, and they gave out the thunder sticks and whatever to the crowd.
I don't know about those.
That was loud.
Yeah.
Everyone's like hyping up all the time, and it's always like crazy energy there. And I feel like live tournaments for Hearthstone need to be like that. A lot of times we go to LANs and there's like no crowd section, or if there is a crowd section, there's no production side of anything that appeals to the crowd section. So everyone's like, why would I even be here live watching? I should just watch on Twitch. It's just better that way. Yeah. So I really like that they, actually have promotional stuff for the people that are actually in the audience and in the crowd. And I think that makes it a really cool event. I wish more Hearthstone events would do that.
Yeah. It was a third straight year as the same stage. Like, what do you guys think of that? Like, I kind of wish they would change it a little bit. It is awesome. Don't get me wrong. It's like it's neck and neck with StarCraft, because it's neck and neck with the StarCraft stage, just because the StarCraft stage can change, based on the projector. But definitely one of the best stages, out for sure at BlizzCon. But I don't know, just seeing it 3 years in a row, I wish maybe something on the side would change, or just something like a little bit different.
I would have liked the League of Explorers stage last year, and this year we
that would have been cool.
Yeah,
what if we had a Mean Streets kind of stage? That would be pretty sweet.
It's a little bit of a different
okay, so let's get into, I guess, the games, right? Obviously Pavel, congratulations to him for winning the whole thing. But yeah, what did you guys think of the matches? I was rooting for Amnesiac, of course, and wow, that first or that match against Pavel was pretty brutal in every single way. Like both starting with game one, right? It was like a 1-3 flip for Amnesiac that he actually got, that he got the benefit of. But then later, holy crap, that Druid Mage game was brutal to watch. It was crazy. But what'd you guys think?
Yeah, he got booked pretty hard.
Yeah, but to Pavel's credit, Pavel played well. I didn't see
he
too
did.
many misplays from Pavel. So, you know, he played well and also got a little bit of favorable RNG, and that's what it takes to win a tournament in Hearthstone. That hasn't changed ever. That's been the way it's been since forever. Like, if two guys play perfectly, the guy that got a little bit luckier is going to win. So you could say Pavel got lucky, but he also played pretty freaking good.
Totally agree with you there. People like always complain about luck in Hearthstone, and they say, "Oh, you know, it just comes down to luck." But it's like that in every competition. Where if you have two people who are playing basically perfectly and they're like, you know, equally matched competitors, yeah, luck decides who wins. That's everything, not just Hearthstone.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
Even at the Olympics, the guy with a slightly extra bit of adrenaline will usually kick in for the win. It's also true in live events. It's just people don't recognize it as much. It's just because it's out of their hands now. And it's like the game deciding that coin flip. It just feels a bit worse.
Yeah, it's definitely Pavel played well, and you know, I know there were a lot of folks who are just like, oh, RNG this, RNG that. In the end, I mean, you kind of forget all of those great plays that he did make leading up to a, you know, a certain crazy epic moment.
Yeah.
But we all know Pavel. Pavel's a great player. I mean, I think it was Orange that was on here like weeks ago, like Zalae and Noxious. You might be able to confirm, and he was. Remember, he was saying how Pavel, like how deserving Pavel was to be there, and how incredibly hard he's worked, but nobody talks about Pavel.
Yeah.
So
the craziest things ever, because I believe Gosu Gamers stats are pretty garbage 99% of the time. Pavel had the highest win rate in Gosu Gamers, and then Dr. Ippy had the second highest win rate in Gosu Gamers. They
there you
finished
go.
first and second.
Maybe we have to give him credit.
Yeah, maybe we gotta start giving GG rankings.
The highest win rates lifetime and finished first and second.
Yeah,
I think off topic, but the Gosu Gamers system, like they do a lot of things wrong, but I still think it's like closer to being a good rating system than any other system.
Try at least. Yeah. What else do we have?
That's why people use it. It's the closest.
Yeah.
It's better than the ladder systems reported every month.
Well, you don't like
Not
that?
No, but
Point
the point is
systems.
like they've actually managed to do like an aggregate like rating that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like long-term stats on like matches that matter. They like randomly include some matches and don't others, and some things count.
well,
The way that they decide how many points or things are worth is just a question mark and changes.
Yeah, but you know,
month to month.
honestly, ranking systems, that's how they work. You know, it's one of those things, usually with ranking systems, there's a bunch of different ones that you can, you know, measure against each other and who's more accurate in your opinion.
Sure.
But in the end, they come up with their own algorithms. You know, it's not like this algorithm that everybody just accepts. It's secret normally too. So
I don't agree with the way that they associate points because I don't understand how it works. I don't even think it's public. But what I do agree with is like long-term win rates in competitive games is an important statistic.
Yeah.
So like, for example, Pavel and Dr. Hippie were not, you know, in the top 5, I don't think, but they had the highest win rate and second highest win rate. So I don't understand how that could even happen.
that's
the importance
that's
of the matches, probably. You know, like they actually use prize money, I think, to a certain degree, but
or it's
the
it
shouldn't necessarily matter. But I agree.
Yeah. I mean, it could be just like you said, bigger tournaments, and you know, they give or they weight heavier than the others. I don't know, but at the end of the year, it should be the closest to representing, you know, the true rankings, because it's a lot of matches, you know, a lot of points or whatnot that have accrued by then. So yeah, it's really great that they had both of them up there. It was an all EU final, so I guess EU region number 1 right now.
I don't know. Yeah, APAC actually played pretty well. I was impressed with all of the regions. Like APAC and China have traditionally been pretty mediocre in the past, and they actually had some fairly solid players this time around.
Man, he's good. Yeah,
Jatsu played well. Jason played okay played good in opening week and played pretty mediocre at the actual event. Omega Zero played pretty sweet during opening week. There's like
good.
Pretty good representation from every single region.
Yeah, and it was strong too. I mean, like Hamiath and Sidonia and obviously
Hamiath had a brain fart on stage.
Did.
Like I went out afterwards because like I was like everybody was talking about this deck. Like, oh wow, Blood Warriors. I'm like, yeah, like I've actually played a ton of that deck. I love that deck. A lot of people don't, and I understand why, because you pretty much had to play only this or, you know, nothing at all. And I've played a ton of Blood Warriors, and it's interesting to me that everybody just thinks the deck is bad. In a metagame that's been like the last month prior to BlizzCon, I feel like there's been a ramp up of Zoo being presented in tournaments, and that deck just makes sense. And the call that he made was right, but the way the nerves got to him, it was just the worst to watch. Like watching a train wreck, dude, because he had played the deck, apparently practiced it sufficiently at least to play it okay. Could have, in his own words, he could have practiced it more and focused more on that one deck, but it's really the nerves that got to him, because you don't miss those plays outside of stress and pressure. Like those are just some of the most obvious plays, regardless of how much you've practiced the perfect mulligans and the perfect matchups. So that sucked that he went 0-4 with that one deck at the end. That's the one thing I have.
Yeah,
he could have killed the Stranglethorn Tiger and won that game.
That's true. That's actually.
And then there was also like against the Zoo, there was like 6 turns where he just aggressively used removal that he could have armor passed and then cleared the board in one big swing.
Yeah, so that kind of annoyed me, but yeah.
That's kind of the crazy thing about BlizzCon is it sort of tests a very different skill set than other Hearthstone tournaments, because it's so unique in terms of how much pressure is on the players because of the ridiculous number of people watching and the insane amount of money on the line and just like the prestige of it all as well.
Yeah.
So everything leading up to BlizzCon is just pure Hearthstone. You know, you're at home or you're at some like land that's not a big deal, and you know you're playing your A game. But then once you get to BlizzCon, all of a sudden it's less about who was the better Hearthstone player leading up to it, and now it's more about who can handle their nerves better, because the pressure just gets to a lot of people in a big way.
Yeah.
Such a unique experience. How do you prepare for having 100,000, 150,000, 180,000 people watching you while you play for $250,000? It's a once in a lifetime experience.
Yeah. And I want to bring up like Tiddler Celestial. When I was playing against him in 2014, he did not care about the crowd at all. Actually, while I was playing against him, he took off his shoe, took off his sock, picked his foot on stage because he had an itch, and like didn't even look at the turn until
picked
the rope
his nose.
hit, then thought of the play, and
picked
then
his
went
nose,
for
scratched
it.
his
Like,
butt,
that's
and
how
then played a
comfortable
card.
that guy was on stage.
That's awesome.
Like he did not care that there's 100,000 people just watching him.
No,
pick
he
his foot
cared.
on
It was just
stage.
a dominance assertion. He's like, here we are, NA. Here's how much I respect your fucking pleb capitalist cunt tournaments. I'm going to scratch my foot and pick my nose right on stage. And Firebat's looking at him like, I got to defend America. And that's how you did this. I know that.
Oh my god. Yes. That was exactly what it was, Noxious. But yeah, anyways, getting comfortable on stage is a big thing. I think we saw a lot of nerves this past week. But you know, that's what it's about. That's what it's about, getting through all of the different challenges and the gauntlet and winning it. So congratulations to Pavel. I hope this brings a lot more, attention to him, and even this latest tournament that's happening soon that a lot of folks are going. Actually, Firebat, you're going to too. It's like all these names, and then Pavel's like the last name listed there. I'm like, gosh, really? He just like freaking won the world champ. Maybe you could move the name
now
up
the
a
question
little bit.
is whether or not he's going to get more of a public presence than Osaka did last year. Because last year, I think Osaka could have capitalized on...
Well, he didn't do anything. I mean...
Right, that's why Osaka deliberately didn't want to.
That's my point. I wonder how much Pavel will...
I think that hurts the title, right? Like, if we have more people that win a world championship and then do nothing with that title, that diminishes the power that the BlizzCon title has. And then that's going to get less opportunity for the next guy that wins it. So I really hope Pavel will capitalize on it and, do something big with it so that it has a more credibility. Because I feel like Osaka actually made it lose a lot of credibility by just doing nothing with it.
Well, when there's pictures of the trophy in a trash can, I mean, it's kind of crazy. So I think Pavel will definitely is going to try to follow up on it much more.
I understand. Like, let it not be said that he actually threw it in the trash. Like, I don't want it.
No.
Like a mean joke, and somebody snapshotted it.
Yeah.
And without that stupid snapshot of just like a momentary joke, people would assume he'd kept it, because he probably would have taken it back. Except now the snapshot was taken. So, I know a lot of people at Blizzard pissed at him.
Yep.
So,
I just don't see that happening with Pavel. So, I don't think we don't have to worry about that. But okay, well, anyways, we'll see what 2017 brings. We're very hopeful. Lots of changes coming. I'm sure we're going to find out all the details in the next month or two, maybe in early January. And I know a lot of you guys, Firebat, you made that tweet that you like to cast, but you want to be playing in it next year. Same with you, Zalae, of course. Me and Noxious, probably not, but At least you guys.
Honestly,
will.
I'll play test as much as the next guy wants, but
Yeah.
I'm not willing to play. I just
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
like
exactly.
the amount of time that goes into it.
Yeah, so good luck to you guys. This season actually starts right. I mean, it starts right now. In fact, the people
this
at
month
BlizzCon
counts,
got points, I believe, too.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
yeah.
BlizzCon's counted, I think.
Yeah, so we'll probably see some of those guys that were in the finals or the final 16, possibly in the next. So what is it, season? That tournament.
They're pretty much all already invited back to winter. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the big announcement, which was the expansion, Mean Streets of Gadgetzan. Yes, so we were all anticipating it was Gadgetzan, and of course it was. And they're doing a lot of interesting things with the cards, just the general design of the cards, the general direction. We'll start off with just the theme of it, Noxious. What do you think of it? With this whole grind street, like we have all these different, I guess, collections or groups of
families. They're crime families. That's the way they've actually painted them. Is they're not even
mobsters.
Like, yeah, it's not so much that they're like factions. They're just crime families. So there's no good guy in this entire set. There isn't such a, at least so far, it's not. There's no such thing as a good guy. It's just different facets of the crime life. The thug life chose all the Hearthstone cards. I look at this and I think the theme is really strong and powerful, and it's a really good way for them to implement the tri-class cards. My initial worry when I saw tri-class cards was the fact that, well, if those count as actual card, like, class card slots, say they had to make 10 Druid cards and 9 of them are Druid specific and the 10th one ends up being a tri-class, that means we get less class cards. But from what I see and from what I'm told, they're actually taking the slot of neutral cards. So where there usually would be a neutral card, there instead is, class restricted neutral. And I think that's a good thing design-wise. So the theme of it is really strong. I don't really know how much of this they're going to push in the future. Because if they're using the crime families as the basis for tri-class cards, I don't think they can expand on that too much in the future, right? Like the Grimy Goons is not going to be a faction 3 expansions from now. I don't think.
Sounds like a one-time thing to me.
Yeah, it sounds like a one-time thing to me too. I like it too. I think it's cool.
I think
they might keep
the way they're doing it with the one-time thing is they're setting up to like kind of test the waters with it, right? Like see if tri-class maybe works out, and then if it works out and it's really cool and everybody likes it, then maybe make a more permanent way to do it in the future.
Kind of like mechs, honestly. Like they've added mechs, even though the mech tag on them doesn't matter. Just in general through expansions, and I think they could still add like, hey guys, here's the one Grimy Goon card of the expansion, and they might just do that once in a while, right? Because it just makes sense design-wise to have a tri-class card, but they don't have the flavor backing for it.
Yeah, I mean, if they introduce it, then they're gonna have to keep it going for a year here. So, unless it's just a total failure, which I don't think it doesn't look like it'll be a failure in my eyes.
It looks good to me.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see mathematically how it works out over time. But I think it's pretty cool. And the theme, I really like the theme because I don't think this is a World of Warcraft theme, right? Are any of these? No. Okay, it's not. No. It's completely unique and just to Hearthstone, and I like that. I like the fact that they're kind of trying to expand upon that instead of just again just copying the World of Warcraft world, just very verbatim or whatnot, just exactly the same. So. Yeah, it gives them a lot more creativity. A lot of the what next presentation had, they talked a lot about the artwork and just the style. So haven't quite gotten a chance to admire all the little intricacies of the work quite yet, but definitely you can tell they put in a lot of time into it. Okay, well, why don't we just talk about the cards? Enough of the artworks talk, right? Yeah. I know you guys are just waiting to talk about the cards. I'm trying to,
I play video games just for the content.
I'm trying to
like,
give
I don't
some
even
love
care
to
about
the other
folks
in the department. But okay, let's talk about cards and the design. We're not going to go through each and every one of the, like the 31 cards that were discussed at BlizzCon. But I figured we would talk about our top 5 most interesting cards that we've all done. The last episode, if you guys watched the live one, me, Toast, and Noxious literally did a quick run through of all of them. But with Zalae and obviously Firebat here, and me and Noxious will have our top 5 too. Why don't we start with Zalae, your top 5 to discuss here?
All right.
Let me go over to it here. Okay, so I got Kazakis. We start with the big dog. Let's eat dessert first, right? Like let's talk about this one's probably the most interesting and unique card to the entire deck. So it's a 4-mana card, 3/3, Kazakus Legendary, Battlecry. If your deck contains no duplicates, so Reno Jackson style, right, or Reno deck style, create a custom spell.
Right, and then the way the custom spell works is you discover, and then you discover again, and you're discovering
3 times,
from one of 3. Yeah, well, there's 2 discovers, right?
No, it's 3.
There's 3.
There's 3
There's 108 combinations.
Yeah.
The first one, you choose the mana cost.
You get 3 if...
You get 3 discovers.
There's
2 abilities
like
and 1
5, 10, and then there's a pool of 6 for the abilities, and then pool of 6 for the second abilities.
Right, so typically, like, if you play it on turn 4, you're picking a 5-mana card to play the next turn, probably.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If it's a super late game, you might pick a 10, and if you're desperate for something right now, on turn 5, you could go 4-1, but mostly I think you're going to be picking the 5s. But the next 2 discovers are kind of the interesting ones, where it picks from a pool of options that are pretty powerful, and you pick the one that's the best for this circumstance, right? So it's like interesting to play with, because you have to make decisions about, you know, which of these effects is right for me right now, and for this matchup, and for my hand, and for the board state, and all that kind of thing. And it's interesting from a deck building perspective, because Reno decks are just always more challenging to build than other decks, because you have to play like closer to 30 cards instead of like 18 or whatever.
The effects are across the board, by the way.
It's interesting to play against too, because it's very predictable what your opponent could build.
Right.
So like there's a range that's quite limited, and it's not just like a random spell from your opponent's class, right? Like you can more easily narrow down what the potentials could be.
And you can try and make reads based on how quickly they pick. Like if they pick very fast, then they might have just found the strongest one, kind of thing. Whereas if it takes them a longer time, it's like a bunch of weak options. Yeah. So you got to pay attention to that.
I'm curious how many total options are. Is it literally just 6 that they show 3 at a time?
It goes like 3, 6, 6, right? So then
3, 6, 6. Okay, so it's just so you'll get half of the choices each time, like for the last 2 picks.
Right, for the last 2 picks.
Yeah, and the effects go from that. I think the effects go damage, like direct damage, heal. We saw resurrect as one of them.
Armor.
Yeah, what one that they made in the video was like deal 6 damage to the entire board and then bring everything to 1.
Exactly. There's AOE. Yeah. There's area effect damage, like that wiping the board, and then there's one other one that I'm not sure about yet. So yeah, they can be super powerful. And, again, this is the first time we're seeing any kind of custom, building a custom card on the fly type of thing. So
this card is so hype. I've been playing Reno Lock on ladder, even though I can't play with the card. Nice. I just want to be ready.
Getting ready, right? Dude, one thing I want to play with this card, I want to try Cho'Gall. Because you can use the 10 health. Yeah, you can use the 10 spell. I wanted
Cho'Gall to be good.
Exactly.
That's an awesome synergy.
Cho'Gall might be good.
That's actually a synergy, bro. Dude, that makes sense.
Because you can build this before turn 7 too, because it only costs 4.
Oh my god, you get like a 10 cost spell on turn 7 alongside Cho'Gall.
Yeah. You build this on turn 4, build the 10 cost spell, and then on turn 6, coin out Cho'Gall and go ham.
Got him.
Exactly. Well, what will be funny is you use 10 health to bring it out, and then the effect is just healing. That would be kind of funny too.
But it gives you 10 health and something else.
Yeah, it gives you something else too. So maybe you res something or whatnot. Yeah. Anyways, I'm excited about that card. Okay, next one is Patches, the pirate. All right, let's talk about this. Actually, let me take off Kazakus. All right, Patches the pirate. I think Patches is on. Actually, no, it's just on your list. Noxious, actually, I don't have your top 5, so let me know if any of these are on your top 5.
It's mine. The second one is mine, dude.
Oh, the second one is yours. Mind that. I mean, Firebat. Let me know which one of these are on your list. Yeah, okay, so Patches. Sure. So one of you guys can... Actually, Zalae, why don't you talk about it?
It's 1 mana for a 1/1 charge pirate. After you play a pirate, summon this minion from your deck. That's the important part about this card. Yeah. After you play a pirate, summon this minion from your deck. So more often than not, you're not paying a mana for this card, and you're not paying a card for this card. It's just a free 1/1 charge out of your deck, rewarding you for playing a pirate deck. So it's like, it's tempo, it's card advantage, it's deck thinning, it's everything. So it's obviously like a super strong card in a pirate deck. The question is it strong enough to make pirate decks viable? And we can't really say yet. We need to see, more cards come out, but.
One of the things that's pretty sweet is like a lot of the combo decks, like patron sort of combo decks, a lot of times have been able to play the Dread Corsair Pirate. Mm-hmm. So like that's kind of like a card that can just kind of fit in those sort of things. And if you're able to thin your decks and increase the consistency of finding, say, patron combos or whatever combos that are in your warrior deck, or whatever. That's super helpful to those kind of game plans.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in my view, it's unlikely that this card would see play in a deck with just 2 Dread Corsairs. I think
Sure,
you would only be playing it if you're playing like an actual pirate deck, right?
How many pirates do you need?
Well,
Probably
are there
something
any
like
pirates that are
4
viable
for the
apart from Dread
consistency.
Corsair?
Bloodsteel Cultist, if it ever comes to that, and you want to play. If you want to go
I
pirate
guess.
for real.
I think it's only pirate
Well,
decks
you
that play
remember
patches.
the whole, play Dread Corsair with Bloodsteel Cultist, Arcanite Reaper control warrior you tried, right? That was a
I
thing.
do remember that. That almost worked.
That was a thing. It was almost there until you realize I could do the same thing for a lot less cards.
That's true. That's
But
true.
yeah,
It's just a fun, cool card that opens up a lot of possibilities with pirates because it makes the pirates actually like good. Because for the longest time, pirates kind of sucked.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Needed
It's
some
still-
good stuff, and patches is that. All of a sudden, like, South Sea Deckhand on turn 1 is actually strong.
Mhm.
Just because it's, a 2-1 and a 1-1 charge is actually a good play.
And in Wild, this card's nuts.
it's
In Rogue.
ridiculous. In Rogue, oh my
Ships
god.
with gang up is what you're saying? Ships
Gang up, because the gang up, it triggers the following other pirates. So you play a pirate, and
Exactly.
then you would get 4 patches the pirate, or well, 3 patches the pirates out of your deck, and you combo that with ship's cannon. That is 4 ship's cannon fires. It's like a spread shot bag.
Well, they showed that example they showed during the reveal of this thing was just ridiculous. It was like almost like Patron Warrior with these patches of the pirates. It was crazy. And then they buffed them, I think, right?
Well, South Sea Captain will bring them out as
Yeah,
2/2s,
that's right.
which makes it all
Yeah.
the more ridiculous
It
because
was
they can attack
insane,
right
man.
away.
Yeah.
And if you have cannon already set up, then that's the South Sea Captain triggering plus all the 2/2s coming out. It gets pretty ridiculous.
Exactly. Okay, let's move on. Let's go to Auction Master Beardo. This is actually one of my favorites too. So overlap with that. Yeah, what do you like about this card?
So it's a 3-mana 3/4. After you cast a spell, refresh your hero power. So I to me, what's interesting about it is where does it fit in a deck? Because the first couple decks that popped into my head were Control Warrior, because it actually plays just the cards, so you're potentially doubling up on Tank Up, very powerful.
Okay.
Or Hunter, because doubling up on Steady Shot. So it's like 2 wildly different decks are maybe interested in playing this card. I think the effect on it is actually really not that strong. That's why you're getting like the full 3/4 sized body for 3 mana. Like it has a conditional, and then the payoff is just an extra hero power, which is usually not that big of a deal. But it's a really interesting card, and trying to find a home for it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's similar, but actually, I think there's utility in Priest too, especially with Akanai.
Sure.
Soul Priest. Yeah, the thing I like about the cards like this, and there's 2 aspects of it. Like, I do like cards like Inspire or whatnot that help the hero power, help the value of hero power, because hero power has always been one of those just fill mana, but it's undervalued. What you get from it is not worth 2 mana versus a card, right? So I love cards that actually help with that to a degree. I think this one does in a weird way, just because it just refreshes it too, so it gives you the option to do that. Also, it helps a large range of heroes. There's 9 heroes that have hero power. Even the rogue probably doesn't count, but the 8 heroes, they actually have hero powers that benefit.
Poison Dagger.
Finley, baby.
just
Finley.
poison-
Rogue gets screwed. Let's just put it that way. Rogue gets screwed on anything that deals with hero power. It really sucks for them. But yeah, I like the fact that you can do that with a large range. I like design where you can affect a large amount of things in the game with a single card like that. So yeah, I think, like you said, just tank up with Warriors is going to be awesome against something like Hunter. And then I think Priest has a lot of potential too. And even stuff like, I don't know, even like Warlock getting to draw twice, or Shaman and another Totem. I think those could actually fit into synergy, or it could be synergistic with some of the archetypes we see right now.
Sure.
Okay. Grime Street Enforcer. Yes, Paladin. Oh my god, Paladin. It's pretty clear what direction they're heading with Paladin
Most
here.
underrated card in the set. Anyone?
Oh, is it? I think this card's bad.
Yeah. Oh.
I think it's
Let's fight over it.
Wait, didn't you
Because
just
it's literally
didn't you
unplayable.
Is this not in?
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry. I put the wrong one on here. Shoot, my bad. It's in the Informant was the one that you wanted, right? We put the Informant. Yeah.
Is that the 2-mana 1/1?
2 mana 1/1's much more playable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me get it on here.
2-mana 1/1's a scary card.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? There it is. Oh no, this is the wrong one. Jeez, I keep picking the Enforcer. Actually, talk about the coin while we're counterfeit coin.
Okay, counterfeit coin. So coin as an actual card you can put in your deck. It's a rogue class card, right? So all of a sudden we get to see it's half an innervate, right? Is innervate so broken that half an innervate's still a good card? Can Rogue actually use this card with Questing Adventure and Van Cleef and Eviscerate and Gadgetzan?
Do you know how many games I win as Rogue when I go like questing, coin, sap your guy,
win
something like
Probably
that?
a lot, right?
Exactly.
A lot.
Conceal.
Like, it's so strong. Now imagine I just always have the coin. Have better chance of having the coin.
What do you
Do you
put?
think this
What
is
do you
just
draw?
like hype? This is a buff for Questing Rogue?
Yeah. I think it's a buff for Questing Rogue. I play a lot of Questing Rogue, and when I have the coin, my win rate is like 10% higher than when I don't have the coin. And my win rate's already pretty good. I've gotten like top 10 legend with Questing Rogue a few times, and won the caster tournament like 3 times with Questing Rogue at BlizzCon.
Right.
So,
but what do you drop for it? I feel like the Rogue decks are pretty tight right now.
no, we run 2 1/1s right now. Swashbucklers, just for getting
Yeah,
random value.
Yeah, let's get rid of those. Those are gone.
Well, okay, that's true.
They do the same thing, right? Smooth stuff out, make it all.
Yeah,
that's their purpose, is to just make questings
Be a
bigger.
terrible
And
coin.
yeah, that's their job. So now you get a real coin.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, let's talk about Grime Street Informant. Now that I got the right one here. So this is the first tri-card that we're going to be talking about. It's a 2-drop.
Yeah.
I actually didn't talk about the coin. The coin was obviously a 0-drop, guys. So it's just your typical coin. Okay, so Grime Street Informant is a 2-drop, a 1/1 body. Battlecry, discover a Hunter, Paladin, or Warrior card, and it's a rare card. So this is the cheapest, I believe, of all of them. And Hunter, Paladin, Warrior, in my opinion, I feel like that's potentially the most consistent try. Like the group
the
of
cost
threes.
of it, dude, like 2 mana.
Yeah, that too.
That's
I mean,
big
there's a
deal.
cost too. Yeah. So, anyways, Zalae, talk about it a little bit.
Okay, so I'm excited to try this out in Control Warrior and Control Paladin as well, if that's a thing. It's sort of a control card because it's like a toolbox card, right? It doesn't fit in a tempo deck where you're just trying to curve out and bash your opponent in the head. But if you're looking for the right card for the right situation, which is more of a control kind of thing to do, then Grime Street Informant makes sense. So this Discover mechanic is stronger than the old Discover mechanic because it's getting purely class cards, never neutral cards, and class cards are stronger than neutral cards. And you can imagine if you're playing Control Warrior and you discover an Equality from Paladin or maybe a Hunter's Mark from Hunter, those go really well with Warrior cards because you have all the great ways to deal 1 damage to activate it. And that's obviously just the best case scenario. But the flexibility of saying, okay, this is a value matchup, so I'm going to take that big expensive idiot, or I need removal to deal with this Tempo Mage's minions. I really value the flexibility, and also Control Warrior doesn't really do much on turn 2 when they don't have Fiery War Axe. Armor up, like gaining 2 life on turn 2 is not irrelevant. You want to be impacting the board on turn 2. So just playing a 2-mana 1/1 is a good thing to do on turn 2 for a Control Warrior. So it's got a lot of upside in all of those ways. Also, it's a cheap battle cry, which goes really well with Brand. Brand typically dies the turn you play him, so it's a lot easier to combine it with cheap battle cry effects like this than a more expensive battle cry. So there's some potential for Brand decks as well.
Yeah, it's
There's a
kind of
lot
like
of
another
removal
Spider
in those
story in
classes.
there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
like that. But you can also get removal instead of just big dumb idiots. Because Hunter's got like some of the best big value cards, like in the game, and so does Paladin as well. And Warriors doesn't have as many top end cards as those two, but it's got a decent chunk of them.
Yeah. Just getting weapons, man. Getting weapons is just really, really powerful.
Yeah, the weapons are good too. Like one of the things is I was already running Joel Scarab in a lot of the list that I was trying out because when you play some of the fatigue game plans, sometimes Acolyte of Pain in some of the lists you can swap out for Scarab in some cases. When you're playing a value game and you're aiming to end the game in fatigue, this actually replaces it even better, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, let's see. Let's go on to Noxious's list here.
So my list is actually like there's nothing as crazy as like Kazakis and Auction Master Beardo, and it's a lot more about the vanilla bland stuff that they printed. And the reason I'm bringing it up is like those being kind of my favorite cards overall is because Blizzard has designed cards that actually aren't like on the board impactful, but actually rely around you investing into the future trends you have. And they work off of one another in a retardedly overpowered manner if you can streak them. So the first one we've got like in the middle is the Grime Street Pawnbroker. That's the one that gives you like a weapon +1/+1 in your hand. That's an easy way to create a win condition in a deck that doesn't necessarily have one. Like we're talking about a Gorehowl that smashes face 3 times for 9 damage a pop.
That's crazy.
I
Man.
mean that's a lot of damage from like 3 card slots in Warrior. Like why Alex Straza Grom in a rage if you can just Grime Street Pawnbroker in the mid game, get a Gorehowl hit face twice, and suddenly you seal the game. Now it's not as OP as it, as this extreme scenario. But the fact that they're pushing these types of cards gives me hope, because no longer is it about upgrade or Blood Cell Cultist shenanigans. You can actually play this in every weapon, like in every deck for Warrior that you have a weapon you want to buff. Like it's just playable there. I just don't know.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about this card's playability, and the main reason is that Warrior decks play between 2 to 4 weapons, I would say, and 2 of them are Fiery War Axe, which comes down before this card typically. So I think just because of the way Warrior works, this card is a little bit awkward.
Yeah, right now I don't see it fit anywhere unless you purposely build a deck with like 1 Reaper, 1 Gorehowl, 2 War Axes, where you like go really heavy on the weapons to get the value from it. But I like the design of, hey, I don't have to have this weapon already equipped and then buff it. Or in the case of the other cards, like the Grime Street Outfitter that's just next to it, for Paladin, for instance, they've designed a card that it doesn't come into play, and like it's not like a defensive Argus that goes, hey, you have stuff on board, it better have been alive and you better have tempo already, and we're going to buff that stuff. Instead, what it says is, well, you might not have a board, but you're still going to get the buff going. And what that does is it creates kind of a slower metagame, and that if this is ever a thing that becomes playable, it pushes people to invest in their game plan long term rather than I have a lead and I solidify it. The reason Bolster was unplayable was because you had to have a taunt minion on the board and have it live for 1 turn before you buffed it. Whereas the new card, Stolen Goods, you don't like, it's not necessarily good, but it's definitely an upgrade over Bolster, because you don't have to have the card on the board, have it live, and then buff it up. And this is kind of the whole theme they're running with the Grime Street, the Grimy Goons, and I really love that design overall.
I agree with you. I think it's good design. I like how it makes you have to keep track of what your opponent's doing and like how the cards in their hand are buffed, so you have to like play around their turns differently, and just like, you have to really pay attention more to the game because of these cards. It kind of rewards skill. It's good design because of all the reasons you were saying as well. It's excellent design, I think.
They're not auto plays, because the bodies are so weak. Whenever recently they've been designing cards where just the body, it's like a no-brainer because the bodies are so good, and the text adds value on top of that. Now it's like you have to take a hit initially to actually get a very big swing later. And I enjoy it. I really, really like that too. Like this card, honestly, like if it was last release, this would be like a 3/4, and that would be considered a powerful card, for whatever kind of face warrior or whatnot. But I think this card in particular would be good in a face warrior, just like your typical kill shit.
Sure, actually, for sure. In aggro war, it's insane.
I just thought about it again. I've seen Purple playing a lot of this warrior with 5 weapons. It's
5 weapons,
The double
it's got double Fool's Bane and Gorehowl, and those 3 weapons are all extremely good with this. Like Fool's Bane hitting for 4 instead of 3 is a big deal, and extra charges. Good when you have Violet Illusionist, which is what the deck runs, right? So maybe it does have some potential in some decks there.
Yeah,
definitely not bad.
Effect. Yeah, it's not bad.
Not great though.
It's not a 3/4. Is the point? It's a 3/3. That's kind of a deal breaker for early game value trades sometimes.
For sure.
Yeah.
But maybe it's powerful enough later on that it's worth it. Yeah. It's interesting.
Exactly. Yeah, the Fool's Bane being a 4/5, that's pretty interesting actually to think about. That deck's really fun. I played that deck so much. It's actually really, really fun. Okay, next street, you talked a little bit about it, but Grime Street Outfitter. This is one of mine too.
So you can bring up like the Grime Street Smuggler right next to it, honestly. Like they're both kind of working in the same deck. And the Enforcer that you don't like, the 5-mana 4/4, it interests me because obviously all these cards are a part of the exact same package. The thing is, the only weak part of this set, like of this entire sequence, is the 1/1, because then you have a 3/5, which gives you a 6/6, assuming you have the 3 cards in hand, because the 4/4's baseline body implies that you're never playing it alone in that deck. Like, you would never play a deck and include the 5-mana 4/4 in it and be like, all right, that's great, that's fine and dandy, I have a 6/6, and I have a 4/4. Point is, in that deck, it should be a 6/6 by that point, and if it isn't, then you need to fix your deck, because I feel like the tools are there to make Like the fact that this is a 3-mana 2/4 that can be made like a 3/5 on curve, like Blackwing Technician, followed by I don't know what 4-drop is going to be around, followed by a 6/6 that buffs stuff, and then it keeps streaking into the later game.
Yeah,
That's always more. It has higher potential than it seems, I think.
And then you just get zooed.
Then you get.
I mean, that's what worries me right now is that we're getting the new expansion, and I'm all excited about the new tools, but I forgot that I keep forgetting that we have. Zoo
this entire
Shaman.
Shaman
is like Shaman is murdering everyone still, and this is what annoys me because these cards are fucking awesome in a meta game that is constrained to the basic set and this set, and the sets that are designed like it. But the moment you put the old, I don't want to say outdated because it's going to be very current, but the old design philosophy cards, all this stuff just makes me want to delete it.
Because you can play a 2-mana 1/1. Zoo takes a value trade, loses nothing from their board, and then develops again.
Sure.
Then you play a 3/5, they buff their guy, lose nothing from their board, and develop again. Then even though you're playing a 6/6, they can still just buff one guy, kill it, and have 3 guys left over, then go face.
I think
even if your entire curve works out perfectly.
I don't know. I feel like the Mistress of Mixtures really changes a lot. You can play Rallying Blade in that type of deck. Taunts as well. The 3-mana 4/5 becomes a 5/6. Like this deck isn't like there are more tools coming in. We haven't even seen the beginning of it, but I'm worried that all these awesome designs are just gonna die off to the current power level of some of the existing decks.
I mean, I'm really interested by this Grime Street Outfitter card. I think it's got some potential to be scary powerful. So much of Hearthstone revolves around like those power 2-drops, the mini bot, the wild growth, the fiery war X, whatever. I think this thing comes down so early that its effect might be worthwhile. Like if you're flooding the board with multiple 1-drops on turn 3, for instance.
I mean, it could even
this card works.
I was gonna say it could be even interesting just buffing up dragons. Like any kind of mid-range deck right now with
Menagerie Paladin.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Menagerie Zubant, all that stuff. Yeah, exactly.
No.
Definitely loses early game to Zoo, and Zoo, of course, can snowball on it. But some of those decks, though, I mean, mid-range, they're not powerful enough right now, but with, like, adding 1/1s to 4 or 5 cards going into turns 4, 5, and 6, I feel like it has a chance of maybe catching up. And
I think it's down to one thing. Sorry to interrupt, but it's down to is Shaman and Zoo, like, are these two decks going to keep fucking up everything, or is Priest going to be the savior we all deserve? Like, that's if the metagame shifts, then maybe this type of slower deck has a chance, because mid-range, slower types of mid-range decks suddenly are more...
we kill Priests, basically, with this type of deck.
Right, that's kind of the hope. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the other cards that they come out with too. I hope to see more small cards. Maybe some aggressive small cards from Paladin. That way we could, potentially be buffing some cards we can play in the first 3 turns quickly.
Mean Street Marshal. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, well, that's that's a good one too.
It's actually my favorite design.
Okay. Well, actually, why don't we?
There's a couple cards I want to talk about with the Grime Street Outfitter.
Sure.
One is the Paladin Legendary. It's a 3-mana 2/2 Divine Shield, and I'm going to say lifelink. That's the magic word for it.
Yeah, let me bring it
basically, it gains life equal to the damage.
It's Wicker Flame Bristle.
It heals your character for the damage that it deals, right? 3-mana 2/2 Divine Shield Taunt.
Yeah.
So basically, when it has Divine Shield and to a lesser extent Taunt, it scales really well with buffs, so it goes well with the Grime Street Outfitter in that way. So maybe you go turn 2 Grime Street Outfitter, turn 3 Divine Shield Taunt. It's not a strong curve, but they play well in the same deck. A lot of these Paladin cards all kind of go in the same deck. I think the Grime Street Enforcer and Grime Street Smuggler strike me as kind of not on the power level that you want for a constructed deck.
Sure.
But Grime Street Outfitter is pretty scary. And particularly interesting with Grime Street Outfitter is there's a 3-mana card that draws 3 1-drops.
Mm-hmm.
And drawing 3 cards for one, it's like net 2 cards for 3 mana is like, it's high on the power level. And also you have control over what you're drawing. It's 1-drops, so maybe you can do some interesting things. Like, I don't know if they're going to come out with more new 1-drops that work well with it, but there is the 1-drop that's it's like a 1/2, and it has
that's a Marshall. That's what he's talking about. The mainstream Marshall. That's one of his favorites too.
It's like insanely fun with this.
Yeah, so like maybe you can combo things together where you play that 3-mana card that draws a bunch of 1-drops, and then you play your Outfitter and buff them all, and then you play a bunch of huge 1-drops that like draw cards, and you're just kind of going off. It's like
That's
I don't know
later
if
in the
that's
game.
really
though.
gonna
that's
work.
your-
It's still you still have to have removed the board against something like Zoo, right? Before you can even do.
You just
stuff
go
like that.
Getaway Kodo turn 1. Like you always skip. Like you don't even play the 1-drop deck, right? Ignore the 1-drop deck. Play like a mid-range pally that starts on 3, right? Or on 2, and you go Getaway Kodo turn 1, and turn 2 you play Outfitter. They kill it. You get it back. You replay it, and then you just keep buffing stuff up.
Yeah.
Instead of Redemption, this like because I was wondering what the Getaway Kodo was for. I could not understand what that secret was printed for when I saw it. But
Really?
since-
It's pretty clear what it's for. What do you mean?
I mean,
Like,
I
instead of bringing a minion back with 1 life, he comes back to your hand
Yeah.
and you
To
can
your
play
hand
it
and you
again
replay it.
win
Yeah,
value
but-
games.
the only application that I saw was the usual late game stuff, right? The bigger dudes they want to replay, but the whole playing Getaway Kodo for the early mid, I wasn't convinced. I didn't think it had any applications there, and they seemed to be pushing the whole let's flood with 1-drops and Mean Street Marshall and Wicker Flame Burn Bristle. They want us to play like a lower curve paladin, and nothing there indicated that the Kodo worked with that.
Yeah.
And now that they've released all the Grime Street dudes, I guess, I think it makes more sense.
Yeah. Okay. Why don't we talk about the mage card you had here too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The Lonely Mage card.
That one's awesome.
The Manic Soulcaster. It's a 3 mana, 3/4 body, epic. Battlecry. Shoots a friendly minion. Shuffle a copy into your deck.
Yes. So this is arguably one of the most standalone win condition cards in the set, just because it's clear what it wants to do very often. You can play the value game with it, where you just shuffle like a win condition card back in your deck, like a minion you really need, like Archmage. Alternatively, and this is my favorite application for it, is the Infinite Fatigue scenario, where you play Manic Soulcaster, and you play a Manic Soulcaster on your Manic Soulcaster. You shuffle, your last card is going to be another one of those. You just keep playing them. So every single time you play a new Soulcaster, you get a new one in your deck, and Fatigue Mage never reaches Fatigue. And they're the only ones that don't reach Fatigue. So in that way, it becomes like a board-centric way to just win the Fatigue war.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, that's true. I didn't really think of that.
Can you talk about Exodia Mage with this at all?
Which one?
I thought about it with the Sorcerer Apprentice. I'm just not sure if it's really tough. Like that's next level gimmick.
Yeah. For people who don't know what we're talking about, if you ever assemble 4 Sorcerer's Apprentice with an Antonitis, then you can play any spell, and then you get free fireballs forever, and you just as much damage as you need. It's as much damage as you have time to play with the turn, right? And this lets you do that.
You need to play it with Brand though to be able to do that.
You have to Brand Manic Soulcaster. Yeah, you have to do. It's obviously not like a good deck.
Think puzzles, man. Think puzzles, right there.
I'm gonna make it on a YouTube video eventually.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
You brand your Manic Soul. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. What are we talking about next?
Brands,
Firebat. What were some of the ones that were your favorites? I definitely have like one more.
I liked Getaway Kodo. I thought
That was actually the one I was wanting to talk about too.
That was the one that I put in there. Like, I think there's going to be some sick combos with that, with just like Brand Battlecry combos and just like weird stuff that you can do. And I'm looking forward to trying to explore weird, crazy Getaway Kodo Paladin combos.
Yeah, I just think it's really nice whenever both sides of the table can't just you have to think about when to play because of the secret, right? Obviously, the opponents that play against secrets, they have to test out things. We know that scenario. But even for the person that's playing a secret, you have to be careful with it. And a lot of times, the secrets are pretty straightforward to play. And I'm really definitely a big fan of like the kind of these types of secrets, which are a little bit trickier. A lot of people are talking about like Mysterious Challenger. I don't know. Like you think Mysterious Challenger type of decks would be good with this, with Noble Sacrifice, and
you can thin your deck a lot.
Your deck is now 0 cards.
You don't play Noble Sacrifice though. You just cut that and you just play like Getaway Kodo instead, and then like they kill your challenger, and then you just play it again the next turn.
Yeah, and then you play Redemption too. You can still get you still get something back. You have to play enough secrets to make it worth it, right? I mean,
it's always worth it. As though it was like the old deck, really. One of the big things, though, is I feel like Paladin's hero power is now becoming worse and worse. It's becoming at the point of Rogue where you just don't want to use it.
Oh, you never want to use your Paladin hero power with any of these new cards.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. Like they basically created this set of cards where Paladin hero power just becomes counterproductive
Well,
for your game.
we've had for such a long time a set of cards that try to incentivize hero powering, and so many great cards of Paladin that work really, really well with the hero power.
Yeah.
But
Nobody
all of those decks suck.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Murloc Knight.
I think it's
never.
good to kind of get away from hero powering.
Diviner.
Hero powering, we tried the whole TGC. We tried focusing on Inspire. We came out with one good Inspire card out of the entire expansion, which is Thunderblood Valiant. So I think it's a good time to just back away from that, and just occasionally you gotta fill out your curve and make a 1/1. But other than that, play your deck.
I mean, there are some cards that buff Silverhand recruits, so I think they should keep doing that sort of thing. But
it's just that I think it's just time for Paladin to be in a different direction, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Well, what direction is that actually? What direction do you think Paladin should be? Just more of a, because I think a lot of these cards have been more mid-range, right? And I think Paladin generally has just been control to date, right? I get maybe some aggro decks.
Right,
too.
they're trying to make it mid-range-ish.
Yeah.
Like trying to bring it back, but without the whole Quartermaster type approach. Because
Yeah.
if they have a card like Quartermaster, they tried with the 2/4 that buffs your Silverhand recruits, right? Like they tried to give us something to work with, but the end result is if we don't have muster for battle, we don't want to use this.
Yeah.
It's
Maybe there can be
I don't know, Light and Darkness, is it, or like Stand Against Darkness? They tried. It was just
didn't work. Yeah, absolutely.
not good enough.
Okay.
I wanted to ask Firebat. You mentioned something about wacky combos with Getaway Kodo. Do you have any just quick examples of ideas you could try with it?
Leroy Getaway Kodo.
Getaway Kodo, yeah. Leroy Getaway Kodo is the first thing.
That's some burst, man.
They have to bring
Alright.
it back. They have to give it to you. And the Grime Street stuff, by the way, like Argent Horse Rider with Grime Street and like Grime Street Outfitter is ridiculous. A 3/2 Divine Shield with charge, 103 is absurd.
Yeah.
It's completely absurd.
Definitely.
I can't hear anything Chenman's saying.
Oh, can't hear me?
I
Really?
can.
Okay,
can.
good. I was like wondering why everyone was saying nothing for like a solid 30 seconds. Then I noticed, Chenman's mouth is moving. Good.
Oh. You guys might want to tell him to exit out real quick and come back.
How does
in.
it even happen?
That's weird.
Did you mute him?
Let me try. No. How can I mute him? All right, maybe that works. Can you hear me now?
I said I can hear you guys, but I can't hear him.
Okay, that's weird.
I can hear.
Oh, well, sorry guys. Let me try to fix this. How about now?
Oh, there we go. Now I can
Okay,
hear you.
yeah, that was
All right.
weird. Our audio thing was a little bit buggy there. Okay, we got one more here, at least from Firebat. Lotus Assassin.
Oh
All right, let's
god.
bring that baby up.
Yes.
Yes. Didn't we disagree on this, Noxious, on this card? Let me
I
see.
agree. I thought that card was insane, and somebody like
No, I thought this card was good too.
Okay, then
Maybe it
no one
was
disagreed.
Toast. Maybe it was Toast.
Oh
that
yeah,
thought it was
Toast
bad.
was saying it was bad.
Or didn't think it was that good. I'm like, the rogue card with stealth is bad? Like, seriously?
It's
I
insane.
mean,
It's ridiculous.
that just saves a 1 mana play for them. It's just
Yeah.
really
I have at
good.
times played Stranglethorn Tiger
Exactly.
in Rogue. It's just a pretty good card, especially when you had Earthen Ring in the deck, so you could heal it back up. And this is in that same kind of vein. You can like buff it, trade with it, and keep buffing it and healing it, do whatever. Like if you play Earthen Ring in your Rogue, so it gives you the ability for the value game plan, and it also gives you the ability just to jam 9 to the face with Cold Blood and then reconceal it. So I think it's like super versatile in the Rogue toolkit for allowing it to have a much stronger mid game, which is something Rogue's been missing a lot of. Like Rogue has really great end game with their conceals and rushing you down, but they don't really stabilize with anything other than spells right now. And having a minion that can kind of go toe to toe in the mid game is pretty cool. Besides Tomb Pillager and then cycle your deck with Gadgetzan.
Right. I was gonna say
Yeah.
the only thing they have right now is like Tomb Pillager, and then your game plan immediately shifts to let's draw everything, and that's all
Yeah.
you do.
I think it's just a cool mechanic. Just being able to trade and keep things stealth forever is pretty sweet. Something we
Yeah.
didn't really have.
It's
Re-stealth
weak
it
for
was-
Shaman, unfortunately, right? Because Shaman has those portals and storms to clear off things that are stealthed.
And you know,
and
the
damaged. Yeah. But
Okay.
and it fits
The
the
mechanics-
Rogue identity. I like the identity of stealthing things in Rogue way more than the identity of stealing things.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Stealing things. They don't even really steal things. They just copy things. Like,
yeah.
so
it's really bad though. It feels bad, man. Like that new legendary that Rogue's got, the 3-mana 2/3 with stealth. People say it's unplayable, it's bad, it's awful. I disagree with that, but I don't like
Fine.
I don't like the design of it. Like I'm tired of stealing card.
Well, they were pretty clear that was going to become
I
something.
really, truly hope it's never like highly competitive. That's the only hope I have.
I like the design of having a stealth guy that is like very threatening but very vulnerable. So you have to find the right moment to attack with it when it's very inconvenient for the opponent to deal with it. You just have to like it. You know, it rewards you for understanding what cards are likely to be in your opponent's hand and how they want to play out their turn and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, one last card that I figured it'd be kind of fun to discuss, and it's the Druid card, Kuhn, or it's Kuhn, right? Yeah, Kuhn, the Forgotten King, which is a 10-drop, 7/7 legendary. Choose one, gain 10 armor, or refresh your mana crystals. So obviously you can gain health here, or you can just get a full refresh and then play a bunch of stuff. So obviously the dream is the whole Aviana thing, and you know, actually Noxious came up with the infinite, or not infinite, but just the straight out kill with Brewmasters and Brewmasters and Knife Jugglers or whatever you want to do.
You can use it with Cthulhu. You just go Aviana Kuhn.
Yeah, you can do that too.
Play Cthulhu, Brewmaster, Cthulhu, Brewmaster, Cthulhu.
Yeah, so I mean, the Aviana is the key, obviously, for everything just costing 1. I mean, Cthulhu costing 1 over and over again.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It allows you to do some crazy end game combos with that whole situation setup. But it's also pretty good against aggro, because like against aggro, you don't care about setting up these combos or refreshing your crystals. Sometimes you just need 10 life, so you just innervate this out on turn 8, and then if your hand's like close to empty because you've been having to spend all your resources reacting to things, you just gain the health and stabilize against Face Hunter or whatever. So I like how like versatile it is, and it's got a bunch of options.
Yeah, it's not just gain 10, it's a body with gain 10, right? Like a lot of times Feral Rage gets you in trouble because you just gaining 8 with it or whatever, but when you have a body with life gain on it, like the shield maiden effect, right? It's just really powerful for stabilizing.
Yeah.
If like another Ancient of War, I guess.
If you get Fandral too, you just get both. Which would be wow, kind of imagine that. Yeah, but I don't know. You think this will help with trying to bring Ramp Druid back at all?
No, this is going to allow more combo shenanigans out of Druid.
Yeah,
I don't think you're going to play this in Ramp Druid. I think you're going to play this and kill people with weird OTKs. Like yeah, when Emperor fades away next year, this will kind of probably take over the place of Emperor. I don't even know if it's better than Emperor right now in current Malygos builds. But like eventually Emperor goes away, right? And then this will still unlock the ability to play Malygos Druid with Emperor gone, right?
All
right.
Yeah, if Aviana
1 second. I got breaking news. There's a new card been announced on Hearthstone, and I would like to talk about it because it's interesting.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
And I want to see what you guys think about it.
We've had a Murloc today too, so let me.
The Murloc is less interesting. This one's called Dirty
let's
Rat.
just go straight to the site here. Okay.
It's a 2-mana 2/6 with taunt
Rat.
that reads
what?
2-mana 2/6 with taunt. Battle Cry. Your opponent summons a random minion from their hand, so they don't play it, which means they don't get Battle Cry. You can deny Battle Cries like Justicar, True Heart, and honestly Kazakus type stuff. Reno Jackson can get pulled forcefully, which will really hurt them. And because it's a 2/6, it's got, you know, a decent chance of surviving. What do you guys think about this card?
Millhouse Manastorm comes to mind.
Doesn't really matter though.
I mean, the one's for spells, the other's for minions, right? It's an anti-aggro card. If your opponent has tiny minions or no minions or maybe Battlecry minions, it could be good. But it's like super risky. I probably played it nothing.
It's a tech card,
right?
Like,
played it nothing.
If you're playing against, let's say you're playing Control Warrior against Miracle Rogue, for example, and you just play this and it just rips out their Malygos and then you kill it. Or it rips out their Gadgetzan and then you kill their Gadgetzan, you just win the game. So it's like a sick tech card for tournament play, which I think is really cool because Hearthstone doesn't have a lot of those right now. Most Hearthstone cards are just like ladder cards, and this card's like a sick anti-combo deck tech card, which we have like none of really. We used to have Lotheb was the anti-combo tech card, and this kind of reminds me of that.
Play with Brawl, pull another card into the Brawl.
And to put in the Brawl, yeah, you just get an extra.
We were just talking about
that'd be interesting.
The Kuhn or whatever, the Druid card.
Oh, yeah, sure.
The Aviana Druid combo that you're afraid people will make this crazy Aviana Druid combo. Now you're playing some control deck and you want to react to that crazy Druid OTK combo that seems unbeatable. You just Dirty Rat pulls the Aviana, you kill the Aviana, you win.
Dirty Rat. I like the name of it, man. So good.
I don't think the card is as bad as Millhouse though, even when you play it standalone. Like it's 1 minion they get. I recognize that they are getting.
I agree with that statement.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I agree
it's
with
not
that
as
too.
bad as Millhouse, but I don't think you're going to put it in your deck for the purpose of beating aggro. I think
it's not
the
aggro.
downside is too much.
What if you put it in
It's
Zoo?
anti-combo.
That's the thing I'm looking
Yeah,
at.
it's anti-combo.
Put
I
it
can see that.
in Zoo?
Yeah, could you find a way to use this like to kill? Because like imagine a Zoo mirror, right? You play Dirty Rat.
Yeah,
how
but you
often
could
do
put a
get
giant
mirrors?
good,
minion
I
on the
guess.
board, right? That would be
Like against every other deck.
Yeah.
I mean, if your opponent empties their hand, right, it's a
Mhm.
2-mana 2/6 taunt, so it's anti-aggro in that regard.
I guess.
But they have to really be hand dumping.
Mhm.
Like maybe it's good against the new Pirate Warrior that's coming out or something.
Oh
Yeah, I
man.
could see
Yeah,
it
maybe.
being
So summons.
It
a
definitely
random
ruins
minion
the
from your
Grime Street
hand.
guys because they're all Battlecry based.
so good against Freeze Mage.
Yeah.
So when it summons it, it doesn't count as being played, right? It's just
No, of course
it just
not. No,
just
no.
shows up
Yeah.
and it removes it from their
Like,
hand.
bring it out. It's like
Yeah.
Deathlord.
Oh wait, does it actually play it from their hand, or
That's-
do they keep the card?
That's
in
what
their
I
hand?
mean. Like
No, it doesn't
summoning
summon a
it.
copy. It summons a random minion as opposed. It's like Deathlord. It's like it brings it out and it doesn't.
Oh,
trigger
okay.
the
So it
effect.
doesn't actually remove the card from their hand.
Yes,
No,
it does.
It
It
does.
does.
It does.
It gets just taken out. But it's considered summoned
The card
for the
moves from their
sake
hand to
of-
play.
for the sake of the gameplay. If
Not
it said
clear.
if it said they played it, of course it would say summon a copy of.
Yeah.
If it said they played it, the battle cry would trigger, and then you.
But it's different wording than the Deathlord, though. The Deathlord is
They have,
your
like,
opponent
different
puts a
wording on
minion from
every
their deck
card.
into the battlefield. Summon is usually
Yeah.
just it shows up.
No,
It's not played.
no.
Summon
it's
is
not.
most associated with it just appearing, like not being taken from anything. Like summon's always used to
No.
summon a
No,
copy.
cop-
When you summon something from your hand, it's not in your hand anymore.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
I'm confident.
I'm willing to bet my right ball on it.
Wow.
Okay. All
I-
right.
it's on the
I think Noxious is very confident about it then.
I assume it works the way
The
you're
bigger
saying,
one,
but
Noxious?
I think it's possible that it doesn't.
I wouldn't worry about that.
No. Anyways,
Sorry.
I think it is pulling from their hand. Let's just say it does pull from their hand. Then that's kind of what we were.
Oh, yo,
saying.
that's a combo with Patient Assassin and Pit Snake. he
my
just gotta
gosh.
kill stuff.
You gotta kill.
Oh man.
Well, good thing that nobody plays either of those.
could
cards,
could this be a card that Mill Rogue plays? I'm curious.
Milrook?
Does Mill Rogue ever play this?
Why?
I mean, you're dumping their cards, right? Like,
Yeah, but
It'd
yeah,
be
like
funny
that deck
in
you play.
Control Warrior or Cthulhu Warrior
Cthulhu
mirrors.
Warrior,
You play
yeah.
this to try and pull the acolytes out.
Oh man,
And
Yeah,
then stupid
acolytes.
magic to go to fatigue.
that
or
is
any of the shield
disgusting.
That'd be
bearers
sweet.
and-
Oh, it's so nasty.
There's a lot of cards
People
actually
just
that
start
could
cutting
bring in.
Acolyte if that happens.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
pull
Cthulhu
out the
cards. you wouldn't want.
Nazoth.
Yeah,
Pull out
the
the
Nazoth.
Emperor. Pull out any of those cards, right? That's bad.
Oh,
There's so
man.
many Battlecry cards in that deck.
What a sick card! Like the tech value of
Super
this card is
anti-control
really
tech.
cool. I really love
Yeah.
it.
I mean, it sucks for
And-
you to still get like a 6/6 out on the board or something like that on turn.
I'd rather
five.
that.
You do that in like turn 10 when you have like shield slot
Yeah,
available,
you'd
for
wait
example.
until late game. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this isn't that great of a 2-drop. Yeah, I mean a two mana play. Or
So
a
it's
2/2
interesting.
play.
It can be good against aggro if they hand dump, and it could be good against
Yeah.
control for like dealing with specific minions in certain ways. So
Yeah.
it's kind of it's
Good.
looking
It's just
better.
good.
I don't want to say it's good, but it's
It looks
interesting.
better,
It's
right?
intriguing,
It-
actually.
it might
It
be
could
good.
be. It could be playable. Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Dirty
probably
ratted
ratted my
MC
Control
tech.
Warrior build.
Yeah. It's a counter. It's one of those counter techs that you just add one of
Actually-
when you're playing against the same deck. Yeah.
Could
So
you like?
Bran, Dirty Rat, Mind Control tech. Take 2 minions.
Oh
That is
yeah.
nasty. Dirty Rat, Sea Giant. Let's go.
man.
Yeah,
that
then
would,
play
that
a
would
Sea
be
Giant after
dirty.
taking 2 minions.
the more I think about it, the more I agree with whoever said the name on this card. It's just superb.
It
So
is,
good.
man.
Yeah.
For
I
like
like
it.
chasing
Dirty
people
Rat,
out,
man.
so, yeah.
Dirty Rat, dude. Dirty Rat, and I knew a guy, man. That's freaking win. That's win my.
I know a
my-
guy
my
can
vote.
pull Dirty Rats. So
Yeah.
that's even
Oh,
better.
that's
It's getting
true.
better and better.
That's true too. I want to see casters have to cast that. That's gonna be awesome. Yeah. Okay. So that they announced another card too. I guess we should talk about that one. What was the other one
Which other
today?
one?
It was. Oh, it was just that Murloc card. It's kind of boring.
Yeah,
actually.
I didn't really
Oh.
care. There's only
Yeah.
a 2-mana 2/1 that pings, which is good, but it's not like
Elven
Uh,
Archer in Murloc form.
yeah.
Yeah.
Flame
Yeah.
Juggler without
But
the
more
orange.
bad.
But more bad. Anything else from the other groups? Let's see. Just trying to look from the
We haven't
latest
received any
here.
news from the other factions yet.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there was any
They're still
other
releasing Grime
interesting
Street.
ones here. All the hunter cards seem kind of bland to me.
I thought the 3-mana 3/3 was
Hey.
pretty interesting. That Death Rattle +2/+2 is a card in your hand.
God.
It's like an alternative. Like right now, hunters are playing the secret package with Cloaked Huntress.
Mhm.
There's a limited room for 3 drops in Hunter, right? You have Eaglehorn Bow, Animal Companion, Cloaked Huntress. So you really need the card to be a good 3-mana card to fit in a Hunter deck.
We're talking about
if
this
you look
card
at it, yeah, Shaky Zip Gunner, 3-mana 3/3 Death Rattle, keep a random in your hand +2/+2. I mean, if you get the full effect off, you're getting 5/5 worth of stats for 3 mana, which is insane.
But we all know
Can you get the full effect off?
We all know 3 mana is like the most contested mana cost for Hunter. There's so many cards there.
And how useful is the buff really?
I don't know.
Could be very
maybe
useful,
in a
like
slower
Uninfested
mid-range
Wolf.
deck, it's crazy. A 5/5.
5/5 Invested Wolf is like prime target for removal, I guess.
Or just any cheaper minion as well that you just didn't manage to play earlier on curve. All of a sudden, you're going to play it next turn along with your quick shot or whatever.
6/5 Houndmaster.
Or you play Psychotron, mid-range Hunter, and you just play like Senjin.
Yeah.
And just find yourself an extra target for it.
Exactly. Okay.
3 mana for 5/5 worth of stats is like, I would definitely try this out.
Yeah, there's just so many things that are going to value trade into it, right?
That's
the totem golems you're worried about.
Yeah. So then you're leaving up a 3/1.
Yeah, and then there goes your value. It's all gone.
Yeah.
That's why you play Auctioneer Beardo with On the Hunt to fix that issue. Oh God.
I'm not. Yeah.
I really wish that's the thing though, is that I love this expansion, but I keep forgetting that it's gonna coexist in the worst meta game of all time. Like that's my big fear, is I don't want it to become another grand tournament.
What do you think is going to be worse?
What
do you mean worst metagame of all time? We've had.
You think it's worse than Undertaker?
Yes.
Oh yeah, Karazhan metagame is worse than Undertaker metagame.
Wow.
Yeah.
So bad.
Really?
Like
wow.
Just like looking at all the stats, just preparing for DreamHack depresses me so much. Just it's just like mid-range shaman. Like, wow.
Mid-range shaman and Zoo, man. Both.
Well, it gets banned at least right now.
How powerful is this Alley Armorsmith
card?
Yeah,
what do you guys think of this card?
First I saw 5 mana 2/7 taunt, I was like, this card sucks. But then I started thinking, wait a minute, we're playing Ironforge Portal these days, right?
Yeah,
How do they get through this without this being a very good portal?
This is better than Ironforge Portal.
Yeah, it's much better, right?
Yeah. I think it's no question.
Stampede Kodo, let's go.
Yeah, Stampede Kodo.
The only problem is it's so weak against Priest. I wish it was like 3.
Priest, good luck.
I know, dude. There's a million things that Priest can do to this card.
Stolen Goods to anyone? You can play Stolen Goods on 2, Fierce Monkey on 3, Blood of Brave on 4, or this guy on 5 with a buff.
But those are all like Stolen Goods is situational, you know, and it's like
it's not situational. It's just the card that buffs your taunts. It's not like it.
Well, it is. You have to have taunt in your hand, so it's.
Yeah.
Well, I just alluded to 6 warrior-specific taunt minions. Like the point is, if you ever want to make this not weak to Priest or as weak, this is like a slight way. The issue is then you run into Shadow or Death.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
It's close to having enough taunt minions for Taunt Warrior. Like it's happening.
It is happening, but it's just like I don't know. Stolen Good is like +3/+3 for 2 mana is really good, but
not really.
You don't
it's
think
like
so?
okay.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it is really good for
like
the minions they're trying to target.
Right?
Like getting a 6/7 Fierce Monkey is a pretty big roadblock, and you've got a 3-mana 4/5 coming in soon, and you can play. I know a guy on 1.
Single target removal though.
Yeah, that's the issue. Like all these 2s. Like, if it was just 3, if it was actually 3 attack, and I don't know 6 health, or even Blood of Brave, you know, it'd be crazy good. Like I think it'd be not crazy good, but it would be good enough to try out this. But why would you play mid-range? Why would you play mid-range taunt warrior when you can play?
Because I can. That's the answer.
You know,
because you can.
It's like a slower mid-range deck when you can play a faster one. You know, in the form of dragon, and that it's kind of interesting.
I'm bored of Dragon Warrior, man. Like I'm just. I think I just need something new, bro. Like I can't do this anymore.
I mean,
I can't look at it. I can't.
It has to be good for people to play. That's the problem right now.
Yeah, and I think again, all of those cards are gonna get eclipsed by the old stuff, and that's the only thing that makes me unhyped. But aside from that, the set is just amazing.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that's it for today, at least for the new cards. We've got a bunch of other cards coming out soon, so there's probably going to be 2 or 3 more weeks of this, just talking about new cards that come out between shows. But for now, why don't we talk about some decks like we always do? Have some deck talk here. Zalae actually has a deck that he wants to talk about, which is
it's a Reno Cthulhu Warlock.
Yeah, it's a Reno Cthulhu.
I was just so excited about these new cards coming out. The new Discover a Potion guy makes you want to play Reno decks. And so I was trying out some Reno stuff. And what I found is that it's not that badly positioned on ladder right now because it does well against Shaman. Shaman always flooding the board, and this deck has Demon Wrath, Hellfire, Shadow Flame, Twisting Nether, on top of other tools like Doomsayer, Acidic Swamp Ooze that are all just pretty good. And the Psychotron's probably like the most cuttable card in the deck. It was just kind of a filler thing because I didn't like the other card I was playing in that slot. But I liked the Cthulhu package. I thought it was pretty okay. Like the deck, because of Life Tap, you do an okay job of using the random little idiots that grow your Cthulhu.
We're missing a half of the deck.
Yeah, we're missing like I think the top.
Yeah, there were 2 screenshots.
Okay.
Yeah, let me keep going. I get it.
So yeah, I mean, it's just I've always enjoyed Reno Lock because you have all these decisions about when is it safe to life tap, and do I need the card in hand or do I need the tempo in play? Is it too much damage? Am I being too greedy by waiting a turn on this AoE? There's just so many gameplay decisions you get to make with Reno Lock. It's really unlike all the Curvestone decks out there, and like I said, it's really I found the deck to be better position in the metagame than I expected. I've been climbing pretty consistently with it on stream over the past 2 days.
Nice.
So give it a try.
Reminds me of AK Wonder's early builds, right? AK Wonder used to play a ton of Warlock, like Reno Cthulhu Lock. He was the only player that I really saw bring that to tournaments.
That was what season was that? Was that recently
No,
or
that's
a while
back.
ago?
That was
that's
when
a while
Whispers of
back.
the Old Gods first came out. Everyone said Cthulhu was unplayable.
Just came out.
Wonder came out with Cthulhu Druid, Cthulhu Warlock, and Cthulhu Warrior, and swept the tournament.
Our hero, man.
So I love this type of deck. If you want to play Reno, and Kazakis is going to be a natural fit when he comes out. And if the metagame slows down, this just makes the deck even more awesome, if anything.
Yeah. And they show you the top of it here, guys, on stream, so you guys can see it. Let's see. Here we go. Right, it's a little bit chopped off though. Yeah, you can see Mortal Coils, Overwhelming. Yeah, pretty standard stuff here.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Mortal Coil the other day. Like anything that says draw a card is just worse in Warlock than any other class because you have access to life tap, so the effect is like less valuable. Mortal Coil. I was thinking, like, if Mortal Coil existed in almost any other class, it would be so, like, overpowered, hype, exciting, right? Like, Druid with Arcane Giants, Warrior with not with Execute, but with Arcane Giants.
Bash, anything, really.
With Pyromancer package, right? Like, just Rogue with, all of the things, obviously.
It used to be a thing, Shiv, It used to...
in Mage with Flame Waker and Mana Worm and all that, like... Man, Mortal Coil would be so hype in any other class, but it's still pretty solid in this deck. Obviously you want it.
With Warlock, I feel like I'm always 1 damage short, so Mortal Coil seems to always be just fall in the right spot whenever I'm playing, or whenever I'm a Dark Peddler and I need, again, just that 1 extra damage to trade with when I have an Imp or whatever it is, right? So,
I mean, it could be worse. You could have On the Hunt, right? So just take the coil and go with it.
On the Hunt. Okay, great. We actually have a deck from a patron too, but before we do that, I do want to plug some of the iTunes and Patreon stuff. So guys that watch the show or listen to the show on iTunes, you can find us on both iTunes and Google Podcasts. And one thing that helps the show out a lot is when you leave a review. If you like the show and you leave a 5-star review and a nice message, it helps folks find the show whenever they're trying to search for a Hearthstone podcast. So I want to give a shout out to a few folks that have done that. Matt Jans, Hofislav, Hub, GJJK, and then Yes. Thanks a lot for doing that. And again, if you like the show, go ahead and hop on iTunes and leave us one of those reviews. Also, I do want to plug the Patreon. Last week I kind of let you guys know just the current situation with the show and the future of the show. And we got a lot of response in the last week, so I really want to just, I guess, tell all of you guys that really appreciate that you guys have come and support the Patreon. We're getting pretty close to that milestone that we need to continue doing the show in 2017. So if you guys want to support the show, you care about the show, and want to continue, just help continue going, continue the show, go to patreon.com/valuetown and make a pledge there. But I did want to give a shout out to two of our legend producers now, Mike T and Lewis G, and just a super quick rundown of all the new ones, just because I really appreciate it. MV, Alexander F, Anton B, Jonathan B, David A, Jeff B, Grant A, James R, Michael O, Eli B, Davin P, Mike T, Tim K, Nicholas H, Lewis G, Jacob P, Johan S, Jim G, Alexander C. This is all this week, guys. Justin C, Eric L, Enoch K, Graham S, Eric B, Matthew M, Will S, Elwood P, Zozand, Joe B, Drunker Monk, Bill W, Jack M, Jake L, Cody K,
Bill
Matt
W.
S, Dr. Daniel, Esser G, Stekib, Alex G, Eugene
Are
L,
we
Johnson
just
C,
reading off names
Aren't
now?
you R,
We didn't-
Michael
Yeah,
W,
chill,
William C,
chill the
Joel
fuck
F.
out,
I
Chan,
just
man.
wanted to get all of them in, just
What are
because
we
really
on
appreciate
now?
it.
Can I just jump in here? I want
Yeah.
to say, as a content creator,
Yeah.
it's not just about the money. It's like such a sincere compliment when
Yeah.
people like voluntarily give you their hard-earned money.
Yes.
It's like it feels really good, even if the amount of money is insignificantly small. It's like, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and that's kind of why it's a long list. I know, kind of annoying, but I just want to give definitely a shout out to all the new folks too, because these guys are coming out in response to what we were talking about last week.
Yeah.
But okay, anyways, that's just wanted to
Cheers.
get that in there. Yeah, definitely. Cheers to all you guys, and